Good morning, students. So today we will be starting the next chapter, which is reproduction. What is reproduction? Reproduction is a biological process by which young ones of the same species are produced from their parents. Reproduction is a fundamental feature of all known life. Each individual organism exists as a result of reproduction. The new individual normally goes through a period of growth and development before it can reproduce. So, why is reproduction important? All the living organism has a lifespan, and at the end of an organism's lifespan, it dies. If the group of organisms does not reproduce before they die, it will lead to the extinction of the organism. Thus, the process of reproduction is very important for the existence of the diverse life forms. There are two main modes of reproduction, which is sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction involves the formation of offspring by the fusion of male and female gametes. It results in the offsprings which are genetically different from that of their parents. Whereas asexual reproduction involves the formation of offsprings without the fusion of gametes. It results in offsprings which are genetically identical to their parents. It involves only a single parent. So, there are some similarities between the reproduction in plants and animals. They are: plants and animals can both undergo sexual as well as asexual process of reproduction. Just like plants, in animals, the males and females have different reproductive organs. In both the plants and animals, the zygote is formed when the male and female gametes fuse together, and hence the zygote develops into a new individual. Now, we shall study about one of the modes of reproduction, which is sexual reproduction. Reproduction in most animals is sexual, where it involves two individuals, which is a male and a female. In animals, the male and females have different reproductive organs. The reproductive parts produces gametes that fuse and forms a zygote. The zygote develops into a new similar species. The type of reproduction through the fusion of male and female gamete is known as sexual reproduction. Each individual or each of the parent produces a special sex cell which is known as the gamete. The gamete that is produced by the male is called as the sperm, and the gamete that is produced by the female is called as the egg or ovum. The egg cells are much larger than the sperm because they contain yolk. The yolk stores the food for the growth and development of the young ones. The sperm is very small and have a long tail that helps the sperm to swim and to reach the egg. In the process of reproduction, the first step involves the fusion of the sperm and the ovum. The fusion of the egg and the sperm is known as fertilization. During the process of fertilization, the nuclei of the sperm and the egg fuse together and forms a single nucleus that results in the formation of a fertilized egg. The fertilized egg is also known as the zygote. The zygote is the first cell of the new organism. In a large number of animals, they have two types of individuals, which is a male and a female. The male produces sperm and the female produces egg cells. In such organism, the male and female are required for the process of fertilization. Whereas in some organisms which are called as hermaphrodites, they have both the male and female reproductive structures in the single individual. In invertebrates such as earthworms, tapeworms and snails, they are often hermaphroditic. Some hermaphrodites may self-fertilize when the animal have a limited mobility. Example of a animal which has a limited mobility and thus it undergoes self-fertilization is clams. But in most of the cases, the organism mate with one another of the same species and fertilizing each other, and it produces offspring. There are two methods by which fertilization takes place, which is external fertilization and internal fertilization. External fertilization is a process in which the fusion of gametes takes place outside the body of the organism. Thus, it is known as external fertilization. It usually occurs in aquatic animals such as bony fishes, where both the egg and the sperm is released into the water. Later, the sperm reaches the egg and fertilization takes place. Whereas in case of hydra, lumps are formed on the sides of the body. The lump produces either male or female gamete. When the hydra matures, the lumps burst open, releasing the gametes. The sperm swim and fertilizes the egg of another hydra. Thus, the process of external fertilization takes place. Whereas, internal fertilization is a process in which the fusion of gametes takes place inside the body of the organism. Thus, it is called as internal fertilization. It occurs mostly in terrestrial animals as the sperms will not be able to swim on land. The male and female mate. The sperms are directly released into the body of female where the sperms fertilizes the eggs. Internal fertilization occurs in organisms such as mammals, birds and reptiles. For reproduction to take place, it essentially involves cell division. Without cell division, life will not propagate. The two types of reproductive processes involves two different types of cell division, which is the mitosis and meiosis. Mitosis is a process where a single cell divides into two identical daughter cells. The DNA replication occurs only once, and also the cell division occurs only once in case of mitosis. The number of chromosomes is maintained in this type of division. The two daughter cells that are formed will have the same number of chromosomes as that of the parent cell. This type of division happens in asexual reproduction. It is also used for the growth, repair and regeneration of tissues. The next type of cell division is meiosis, in which a single cell divides into 4 haploid cells. DNA replication occurs only once, whereas the cell divides twice in meiosis. The number of chromosomes are halved in the process of meiosis. It takes place in sex organs to produce haploid gametes. The purpose of it is that when the haploid gamete produced by the male and the haploid gamete produced by the female fuses, it forms a diploid zygote. So, the gametes should be haploid for this reason. So meiosis results in haploid gametes. Thus, the gametes have only half the number of chromosomes in them. By this, we come to the end of an introduction about reproduction. Thank you, students.